In the territory that was under the power of this constellation, the attribute is the second law of nature. It means that a person should always be ready to protect himself. Namely, in the territory that was under the control of the Lord of Blood, there was only one rule. All avatars must endlessly fight with each other. He had been fighting monsters and demons for a long time, so when he saw a building nearby, he decided to check it out. He knocked on the door with a shout of apology. The guy said that if the owner was there, he was asking to use his house as a shelter for a while. The demon met him and greeted him. He also added that Yansung came just in time because he had just finished cooking a delicious soup. Yansung was shocked that even in such places there were restaurants. The demon replied that to fight well, you also need to eat well. He apologized for damaging the door and asked if he could eat. He hadn't eaten properly for a long time. The demon replied that, of course, it was possible. He had a poisonous stew just ready, and then he just started pouring all the stew on Yansung. The demon laughed at him, but there was no more poison that could harm Yansung. He was able to control the poison. He said that he likes this restaurant. The demon was in a stupor and did not understand what kind of creature was in front of him. Meanwhile, he was already found by the monsters he fought with. They all wanted to kill him and almost broke down the door to enter the restaurant. The guy started to run away and finally left the cook-a-tip in the form of a knee strike in the face. Yansung grabbed a chair and waited for them to attack him. He could fight at this rate forever. It's almost the same thing he did several centuries before. The guy was the first to hit them with his improvised weapon. Yansung understood why the goddess gave him such a task because the level of understanding can be reached only in deadly situations. Meanwhile, the goddess kept asking if there was any news about Yansung. Her guardian angel also disappeared. The guy destroyed all the monsters that attacked him in the restaurant. Due to the increase in skill, Yansung's sensitivity increased, and he felt something strange near the cauldron. There was something unusual and powerful in that cauldron. He was grabbed by the leg by the cook, who wanted to kill him as well. He was surprised that this creature was still alive. He asked Yansung to leave the cauldron because he had gone through 9 circles of hell to get it. Yansung told him to shut up because he got it fair and square by defeating others, and the spoils go to the victor. Now, the cauldron and the entire restaurant belonged to him. In one martial arts story, Yansung learned that a retired martial artist owned a small classic diner. Initially, he came to find a suitable place for competition but unexpectedly acquired a dining room. The demon said it was his place, but Yansung told him to take it if he dared. Those were their rules. The demon chef had kept the kitchen reasonably clean the entire time. Yansung remembered his teacher's advice to everyone about having a hobby. He had dishes, ingredients, and even dough, which is why he could run his column of experiments. First, he decided to check out the products. He took the meat, and it looked attractive enough, but it was completely filled with poison. He no longer said anything nice to the demon. He found some strange fruit and decided to taste it, but it also turned out to be poisoned. Everything he tasted contained poison. He did not understand why there was so much poison in the restaurant. He would have to eat everything raw again and use his poison immunity to convert it into ki energy. Since the poison did not affect him in any way, he decided to use it for cooking as one of the ingredients. Yansung battled monsters to gain experience during the day and experimented with recipes at night. That's how his life in the dining room continued for a certain time, several hundred years. Another day, the previous owner of the diner came with monsters to take it back. The guy said he had a lot of respect for their determination, but it wasn't a restaurant right now. It was his own pub with unique recipes. This is what he told them during their beating. Once again, he destroyed a bunch of foolish monsters and continued his business. But this time, he acquired an A-rank skill, harmony of body and mind. Divine cosmic arts became more natural. This is a state in which the body moves in accordance with the mind. After acquiring this skill, the body becomes much faster than before. Although all masters want to get this skill, it is not easy at all. Magical skills are very popular and therefore often sold at auctions. But due to their popularity, not all artifacts can be purchased. All that remains is to crawl around the dungeon and hope for a miracle. He didn't know why, but he was able to achieve harmony of body and mind through constant mortal battles. All the masters would be jealous of him if only he could ever return. The owner's assistant flew over this building, and he hoped that those who received his blessing would not let him down. After another beating, the monsters could not understand why they kept losing to one person. It's been 100 years. As long as he is locked in this building, they cannot destroy him. It was strong enough, and they could not disarm him either. By the time the demons realized their strategy wasn't working, Yansung also realized he needed to change something. He stopped getting stronger, even though he absorbed energy from cooking. His progress stopped. He could no longer feel things on the example of the harmony of body and mind. They tried to lure him with adamant nuggets. They provoked him with fresh meat and reminded him that his strength would grow from it. But the guy understood everything and thought they were idiots if they really thought it would work. He opened the door and said that he could forgive a lot, but advised them to end this worthless resolution. They thought they had managed to lure him out with their methods and pounced on him. As it turned out, the demonic pub was a repository, and at the time, the reason for Yansung's stagnation. Being in the pub meant he stopped getting involved in the battles to the death that fueled his growth. Although the monster's acting was terrible, he came out to play along and fix his situation. During the fight, something healthy and probably powerful appeared in front of him. This monster thought he was a scared boy hiding in a building so that no one could get to him, but he was completely calm because he understood what he was really capable of. He said that he couldn't lose to them under any circumstances, and even if he wanted to, he couldn't because he needed to destroy monsters to increase his skills. Shikiri, the only AR-ranked hunter, described his strength as a state of overflowing confidence. Yansung couldn't understand it before, but now that he's reached the expert level, he does. Earlier in the battle, he felt scared all the time. He mindlessly attacked in different directions with his energy. That feeling he had of lacking self-confidence was completely gone. Now, he was completely confident. The world told him that he was stronger than all the surrounding demons. He learned to use the power of the enemy against itself. Yansung would never let meat and adamantium go bad or disappear, so he destroyed all the monsters and took them for himself. He also added that he would be happy to destroy them again if they brought gifts. After some time, they brought gifts and asked to compete with him, but when Yansung left the dining room, he did not see anyone. A few seconds later, he was fired upon near the building. They understood that he was based on close combat and decided to kill him with ranged attacks, but that was a bad idea. He successfully blocked the attacks with the divine cosmic art. His body became even stronger after the demonic attacks. Monsters didn't understand how he could move after being directly hit by spells. Meanwhile, Yansung gained invulnerability. The more the demons expended their strength, the stronger Yansung became. The difference between their strengths grew more and more after several hundred years of such fights. On another day, Yansung asked the monsters to disperse, but they were queuing up to fight an invincible man. They were upset that the pub was closing. He gave the first monster in line a number by which he could fight him first the next day without waiting in line. Resty Yansung said he would not fight those who misbehave. Somehow, he was able to bond with these monsters. On the other hand, it was logical after hundreds of years of battles. It was an A-rank hunter card, a magical item obtained during the first registration in the association. When the owner imbues it with their energy, it reflects the owner's stats. The guy decided to check his data because he hadn't done it in a long time and was shocked. He gained a lot of skills. On Earth, he could only dream of such things. The first time he got this card, the Divine Space Art rank was D. Now, he is already a level. He had never seen the rank rise so quickly, although due to training in the abyss for 1,000 years, it is quite realistic. Yansung had immunity to all types of poison, the ability to freely control poison, and gain energy while absorbing it. Another skill is the harmony of body and mind, the ability to use the body as you wish, the ability to redirect the enemy's power in another direction, even if it is more than one's own. Leather becomes tougher than steel and is able to block most of a variety of attacks. Demon's coherence is a skill he had heard about back on Earth. Hunters use mana or Kai as a source of power when using skills. When the quality drops, it results in a loss of effectiveness, but if you have a large amount of Kai energy, you can reach a legendary level by creating the illusion of 3 colors. While meditating, Yansung thought that this was only available to hunters who had learned the unique A-rank Divine Dusk art martial arts. Yansung didn't know that even though the Divine Cosmic Art is weak in growth rate, it allows you to generate keys stronger than any other martial art. A martial arts specialist means that a person has an ideal physique for learning martial arts. This primarily means that they have a high affinity. Yansung thought it was due to the magic storm because he never had any innate talents. He continued to think that it was all thanks to the plan of the goddess, and at that time, she still did not know where he was. Thanks to numerous battles, his understanding of martial arts has almost reached its maximum. It is believed that it is difficult to master one martial art in a lifetime. This skill will allow him to use different techniques depending on the situation. But there was another skill without a rank. The world resonates with Yansung, so he was close to the peak of existence. For the guy, it seemed like some kind of nonsense, and he thought that his card was simply broken. Yansung didn't even know that this was the thing that would make the whole earth lose its mind. While he looked at his hunter card, a beautiful soup was prepared. There were many monsters sitting in his dining room, and they all lost the battle to Yansung. They fought him for 500 years and could not win. He brought out new dishes for them and asked them to taste them before they left. They promised that they would first eat, recover, and then defeat this person. Testing new menu items became a daily routine. Yansung constantly practiced cooking. The monsters were surprised that this boy was skilled not only on the battlefield. However, there were those who did not like it at all. One of the recipes poisoned a monster, so he decided to remove it from the menu. While he was recording, some monster decided to be brave and challenge Yansung to a fight, but he did not have time to take a few steps before he was destroyed. After the attack, none of the monsters wanted to talk about their bad taste. Yansung has forbidden this monster from entering the pub, even when he is resurrected. Then everyone started eating his food, even if they didn't like it at all. He was happy that everyone liked his appetizers and main dishes, but in reality, many monsters simply suffered from stomach pain and discomfort. Demons who ate everything to the end did not come to the pub for more than a month. Also, he received the skill of Culinary Beginner of the Abyss. His skills were no longer improving. No matter how much he practiced, he couldn't cultivate any more ki energy. It felt as if the Danon was blocked due to being overwhelmed. Shikiri was only an expert. Despite the fact that he wanted to become stronger, he no longer had anyone to use as an example since there was no longer a stronger master. He himself must destroy this wall. There was only one way to become stronger. This was a battle with an enemy that was several times stronger than weak demons. He needs to compete with someone stronger than him. The guy heard someone knocking on the door and asking to call the owner of the establishment. Yansung opened the door and immediately said that they had arrived on time because he had prepared excellent meat. He offered the guest to choose a place while he brought him meat without rice. This monster was not at all like the others and therefore aroused interest in him. It was a new demon. Yansung looked at his stats as he showed the table. He said he had heard enough about the invincible man and would like to see his skills for himself. He knew that this guest was much stronger than himself. He possessed great magical power that was strong even for a demonic race. He was happy because it was the beginning of a new phase of training. Yansung presented him with the dish of the day. Then he prepared it and brought it to the table for the guest to try and appreciate the taste. He could see very clearly from him that this was a very strong demon. The guest ate the whole dish and said that he heard that the owner is very fond of collecting valuable materials. He saw him pull a very valuable resource out of his pocket. It was a large piece of pure adamantium, such a size Yansung had never seen before. Yansung offered an extra portion for that price because he thought he paid too much. While Yansung was examining the stone, the guest asked him if he was really a man. The demon said that his name was Varago, and he was the first avatar of the Lord of Blood, to whom he gave a bloody axe. He had an offer from his master. He asked what the offer was. The master has been following him, and he wants Yansung to become his avatar. Varago was sure that Yansung would accept his offer, despite the fact that he is a traveler from another world. He is not crazy enough to go against the will of the Constellation, especially when he is offered such an honor to become an avatar. But it turned out that the guy refused, yet thanked him for the offer. He was outraged that Yansung refused to cooperate with his master. He felt this great pressure coming from this powerful demon. It was the same strong opponent that he had been waiting for so long. Virago himself could not understand why he was refusing the master's praise. The Lord of the Blood respected the trait when one did not hide the fighting spirit from someone stronger than him. The demon started yelling and asked why he didn't like him, rejecting his offer. Yansung said that he had already promised. Then Virago asked what promise he was talking about. If he is an avatar of another constellation, then he does not feel his presence at all. Yansung replied that he promised the constellation that he would become an avatar when he passed the test. The demon wanted to say that maybe he was being deceived, but Yansung did not like it and said that if he wanted to fight, then he would do it with pleasure. But he just wanted to tell him that his information was illogical and unsubstantiated. Constellations enter into a contract with an avatar because of their desire. No constellation will accept an unworthy person as an avatar. Therefore, the constellations usually immediately conclude a contract so that others do not do this. And if they want to train an avatar, then they do it on their territory. This is due to the fact that cases of interception by other constellations are possible while it wanders from outside. But Yansung disagreed with him and said that he missed something. The constellation he promised could see the future, and he was sure she chose this strange method because she could see it. Seeing the future is a rare ability, but she trusted such an inferior ability. This constellation was brave enough.